and space. And there is a slight difference between the two. But we want to make sure that we understand that as we practice perfect inactivity, and we start to apply these as principles, we're moving into being lawful, full of the law, then we're going to be aware of the law of creation, the law of radiance, the law of emergence, the law of attraction, and when we become lawful and we respect the laws. Now, in the beginning, sometimes we have to respect the law. Then we transcend to a level where we don't even really have to know about the law. We just embody where we live lawfully. We live lawfully. What does it mean to live lawfully? It means that when the law of emergence, which simply stipulates that there's some idea from the very mind of God, which is completely one with the idea of your soul, whatever God, your soul, has to experience and express through you, that emergent idea wants to express into the world, uninhibited, unencumbered by anything of the temporal world. Now, the law of creation takes it a step further. The law of creation says, in the perfect form or in the perfect world, you have no resistance to that emergent idea, and you have already surrendered to the degree that you are living from oneness in duality. Living from oneness in duality means you're living from the soul, which then allows you to be a little less attached. I know this is going to sound crazy. You'll be a little less attached to your gender, a little less attached to your nationality, a little less attached to possibly religious ideas, a little less attached to any other aspects of the personality. You honor it, we love it, we enjoy the costume, but we don't go into a place where this is real. We know what's really real behind the virtual reality goggles is a love and a bliss beyond your wildest dreams. I've been fortunate enough to have experienced nirvana quite a few times. And when you allow meditation and your prayer practice, which is the portal, that's the portal, that's what thins the veil. That's what allows space and time to collapse and eternality to blossom. And then, we've all experienced it to some degree, you're like sitting there and you're like, oh my God, an hour has gone by and you feel like it's only been a minute. Or maybe a minute's gone by and you feel like it's been an hour, but the good kind where you're like, oh my God, I was outside of space and time. And that's a really wonderful place that we go to on a regular basis. There's a quote or there's a passage in Scripture that says, you shall love thy Lord thy God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. It's a loaded passage in Scripture. If you take the first piece of it, you shall love the Lord thy God. The Lord is the universal presence of infinite magnificence. Thy God is your oneness with it. Your God. Your oneness with God. And then it goes a little bit further to kind of give you the way to follow it with all your heart. You allow your heart, because we know that the heart is the nexus point where heaven on earth unite as you. That's where the law of emergence, the idea from your soul comes into your heart, and then right after with your heart and all your mind. And then it goes up from your heart to your mind. This is in essence how you become a house united within your own self. A house united, we've all had the experience where it's like, oh, part of me wants to go over here, and part of me wants to go over there. That's a house divided. And then we're stressed out because, oh God, I want to go here, but I don't know if it's going to yield the best result. Oh, but if I go over here, it seems like an either or. It might seem like a lose-lose, or potentially a win-lose, or a win-lose. When in the divine, there's another choice. We go to the win-win. We go to the win-win and we allow ourselves, show me the win-win. Show me the good. We want to surrender know that if you wanted to make an iPad or a coffee mug, the first thing that would have to happen, do you think you just sit there with a blank mind and then just something just materializes out of nowhere? No, an idea has to happen. The idea, I'm going to design the best coffee mug in all the universe, and I'm going to sell millions of them. First it shows up as an idea. Then there's some action that's going to follow that idea. Otherwise, the idea just sits there. It just floats. It's just waiting. Now, if we were to go ahead and align this a little bit more profoundly with our spiritual growth, there's the divine idea of you. You capture that idea. It doesn't come with a whole lot of details. It comes with an idea and vibration. So you might feel like, I'm going to be in the healing arts. But you might not know all the details of it. And oftentimes the universe, your soul, goes on a need-to-know basis. You're going to feel an impulse to go this way. And then you're going to feel an impulse to go this way from that. Because the universe will always set you up for something magnificent, should you listen. Sometimes we know in our life visioning that Reverend Michael, really brought to the forefront of spiritual living, where we capture the vision of the soul. That's a particular meditation. You capture the vision. What is it that my soul is seeking to experience and express that only yields good, that only yields love, that only yields prosperity, that only yields wellness, because that's the way the universe works? Well, what is that idea? Sometimes you catch that vision, which is over here, like I've captured the vision, we've captured the vision, which, by the way, our Soul Center Monthly Visioning is next Monday. It's been postponed from tomorrow to next Monday. It's usually the second Monday of the month. You're welcome to find out about it if you want to join in. But we've captured the vision of our kind of forever home. We've seen the campus. We've felt the vibration. We've seen the trees and the fountains and the labyrinth and the sanctuary. We even had someone who captured it to a degree that there's a rendering of that. Now, we're not attached to that it needs to be now, that it needs to be tomorrow, or that it has to look exactly like this. But we've been marinating in that. We capture the vision. That vision is about here. And then, via the law of growth, because the law of growth is what stipulates that it takes time for something to come into form, meaning that you plant the seed, and it's going to take time for it to germinate and blossom and spread its petals. It's going to take time for this vision to come into form, but what the law of growth never says is how much time. The law of growth is no respecter of time. It's a paradox. It's no respecter of time, and yet it governs time. Isn't that amazing? I think it's amazing. Anyway, it is no respecter of time, because this could happen like that, or this could happen over a week, a month, a year, a decade, whatever it is. But whatever that time is, the more we surrender to the vision, the more we begin to start to collapse time. Things start to become very efficient, very cooperative. The more you let go of making things happen, and the more we move into allowing things to happen, which is, man, that was a tough one for me. Really tough. As a bona fide recovering do-it-yourselfers like to get things done. We like to get it done, and if you can't get it done, if I can't get you to help me to get it done, I'll do it myself. That is a recipe for slow. That is the turtle and the hare. We're going more on turtle, even though you feel like you're the hare, because you're going to run and hurry and scurry to try to get it done. But all the while, you're going to know that you've got one foot on the gas, and you've got one foot on the brake, and that brake is making you go slower than the tortoise. So we want to go ahead and we want to wake up, and we want to understand that beliefs rule your world. Your belief system, which is in your subconscious, rules your world, and beliefs can be that which imprisons you, or that can be that which liberates you. A belief is a stepping stone to knowingness. Now, there are ideas that we teach. God is our infinite source and supply of all good that never holds anything back, ever. Never, ever. Or other ideas that we know life is eternal. It's eternal. No beginning, no end, eternal. Even though we birth ourselves in as little infant babies, we go into adulthood, we transition out in the eternal experience of life. maybe to me on some level. I've lost something. Now, we know intellectually, if we read spiritual passages and laws, we know that that's not true. It's not true in the capital T sense, but it kind of feels true in the temporal world, like I've lost something. So what do we do about that? This is where we then apply the principles that are the reflections of the laws into our life, not as a way to get past something, not as a way to hurry, not as a way to, oh, make that pin stop. No, that's not what we're doing. We're doing it in a way to grow and know, move from belief into knowingness. Knowingness is when you've adopted the divine idea into your bones to such a degree, so you know God is your infinite source and your supply, that nothing can keep you from your prosperity. Nothing except your own idea that that could happen. And so this is where we take personal responsibility, but we know that you do not earn money. You do not earn respect. You do not earn anything in spiritual law. You allow. You cultivate. And when you become faithful and lawful, then you become fruitful. Fruitful is when you are bearing the fruits of that good. Now, again, I remember back when I was looking at the Hare Krishnas, I'm like, okay, praise people. I don't know if I can do that. But then I was like, oh my goodness. Wow. When you drink the divine punch, which is different than temporal punch, divine punch is delicious. It allows you to awaken and expand. And so we might move from a belief. The belief is, oh, I always get great parking. Oh, yes, I believe that. Now, that can be really nice. That can benefit you. It can also be a little bit of a detriment. Because if I don't get the great parking, let's say, I know some people, right up in front, there's always that space, right, wonderful thing, whatever. But then there's the day you didn't get it, and you're like, I didn't get the great, what's wrong? My juju's off, what's happening? That's because my belief system wasn't 100%. When your belief is 100%, you are actually moving more towards a knowingness. But knowingness would take you to know that I know harmony and efficiency expresses my life. So the difference between a belief and a knowingness. So the belief could imprison you or it can liberate you, because as I start to hold that knowingness and I let it matriculate into my belief system, then it will liberate me. But if I allow my belief to be limited in any way, then I will imprison myself. Sometimes that imprisonment isn't so bad. I remember when I was living large, back in my corporate days, and I was making a really amazing salary with amazing benefits and going on amazing trips, and we went on a private jet. That was super cool. Loved going on. We just pulled up our company, our boss. He got limousines, picked us all up. They took all of our luggage, took us right to Van Nuys Airport. We pulled up within 20 feet of this private jet, and then we get out of the car and we walk onto the plane, and it's like a big, huge living room, and they're taking care of all that stuff, and then whoosh, off we go, and it's like there's no real if you're a little big deal, you just got to clear up the tower, etc. That's all wonderful, but I was imprisoned. I was imprisoned by that I had to adhere to certain ways of being that were compromising my own self-love and my own good, that created more stress in my life in order to have an attachment to the temporal world. Now, there's a way that you can have that experience that is in alignment with divine law, but that means you got to really be lawful. You got to really be good. And we also don't make anything bad or wrong. We never make anything bad or wrong. We just observe it. We assess it, we address it, we bless it, as I've said many times in the past, and we allow ourselves to get to an authentic expression and an authentic deliciousness within our own beingness. And so we want to go from maybe I was working with a client, she had come in, and the reason that she had come in was that she was experiencing a lot of flightiness, wasn't able to focus, and she was working at a high-pressure job, and so all this stuff, and so she was forgetting things, and she was experiencing becoming very disorganized. She had a lot of projects that were undone. She would start a project here, and then she would be really enthusiastic, and then it would like kind of die out. And she was doing that left and right, and it started to get to the point where it was really encroaching on the people in her life. Her husband was getting upset, children were getting upset because all of the stuff, there'd be a project half done, and it was like, oh, here she goes again. Oh, I'm going to start doing pottery. Oh, here she goes again. She's just going to do it for half a minute, and then we're just going to find broken pottery all over the place. So it was, and at that particular time, she noticed she had started gaining weight. So she had come in to find focus.